government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Well, Ron Paul is doing the right thing. He is standing up saying we have to energize what has become known as the Ron Paul Revolution, tens of millions of Americans and people worldwide against the New World Order and tyranny. He's saying we have to now organize into a national force to basically pressure government and to continue to carry the torch of liberty and educate others. He's calling for a national march. And the congressman is scheduled to be joining us sometime in the first hour today, though he is traveling and on the road. So I take that to mean any time in the next 3 hours. He's scheduled to be with us in the next segment. We'll see if that happens. Meanwhile, principal electrical engineer for the World Trade Center construction is now saying that fuel and planes alone could not bring down the towers, and it looks like they were destroyed, blown up. Again, Ron Paul calls for march on Washington, D.C. Screams and tears of delight as polls show Obama set to perhaps beat Hillary Clinton in key battleground states with big delegate prizes like Maryland, Virginia, and others. It means absolutely nothing. Both candidates, as you know, are bought and paid for, but we'll be breaking that down. Great story here, great article by Lou Rockwell. Ron Paul has already won, echoing many of your thoughts, my thoughts. All of us have won. Let's be positive and not be angry at Ron Paul or his campaign for not storming to victory presidentially. Remember, we asked him to run. This is a process, and we have already won by taking action. So I'm going to be breaking that down. Is John McCain ineligible to be a U.S. president? A lot of people are calling me about this. I've done a little bit of research on it, and we'll break down the findings later. The way it looks, according to the Constitution, is no. But the Constitution also says that you can't have the president and vice president hailing from the same state. Dick Cheney's tax return said he lived in Dallas. Bush's tax return showed he lived in Austin. Did that stop him from running, or is he president now? Is Dick Cheney vice president right now? I mean, since when does the law? That only applies to us milk cows that are milked by the wolves. That doesn't apply to the New World Order or their third world slave minions or any of their protected groups. So we'll be going over that. Also, remember, I told you there's a two-tier control grid system. They're using anti-terror as a pretext to set up prisons, secret police, checkpoints. But the bigger attack is coming in the velvet-covered iron fist of the environmental movement. And understand, think in a three-dimensional format, liberals. I'm not saying there aren't environmental problems. I'm not saying there aren't good environmental groups. I'm explaining that it's hijacked, but that's not even right. It was founded by these people, by the eugenicists, and it's to control humans. Here's Mayor Bloomberg out of the New York Sun today. Mayor compares threat of global warming to terrorism, you see. These are and he says that we're, quote, all going to die if we don't submit to this. Washington State, Oregon are set to pass laws. All these new greenhouse gas laws. Other states are moving. California's moving. It's all happening. It's all happening. Total micromanagement of our lives. Now, I know you know that. But we need to codify this into easily understood reports, and we need to get this out to the people now. When you hear neocons attack environmentalists, they attack it from, they're just wackos, they're a bunch of idiots, they're eating granola and wearing sandals. And so it's a joke, it's not a threat. See how they minimize it? No, it's the big corporate boardrooms and the big central banks setting up a whole new tier of taxation, regulation, and social workers that are going to mind your every action. It's the end of the family farm. It's the end of the small business. It's a whole new tax system. See, they never identify it. They pose like they're against it, then they identify it, and then the hippies all think, it must be good if Limbaugh's attacking it. We'll be right back.
The Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
All right, my friends, we have a really important radio broadcast lined up for you today. I will let you know we're going to have another big surprise guest next Monday. We'll start promoting that now. We gave you Willie Nelson for a full hour talking about the New World Order and how he thinks the government may set up a dictatorship or martial law. That made it in over 400 newspapers, the Associated Press, and on Fox. We have another big guest joining us next Monday. I'm just going to leave it at that. That is coming up. Now, very exciting. Ron Paul campaign is moving forward. They're defending the House seat and moving forward in the primaries and educating the public all the way along. And what people have called for is some type of national movement to form now that goes past the election with these millions of Americans and millions of others worldwide who love liberty, who love freedom, and who, want Dr. Paul to pull us through the night here. But he said, hey, I'm not going to do that. We're going to do that together. And so he has now announced a fabulous idea, a march on Washington. Let's put our money where our mouth is. People need to stop whining in the trenches and realize this is a long, hard fight. We need to understand that we drafted Ron Paul and demanded that he run. He has broken every major fundraising record. He has done things with the grassroots never before seen. Even mainline pundits admit that. We have made history together. And with us until the bottom of the hour for another 21 minutes or so is Congressman Dr. Ron Paul. Thank you for coming on, Congressman.
Great to be with you again.
Let's just break it down. Where is the campaign right now? Where is it going in the future? And tell us about the march, sir.
Well, the campaign is, doing exactly what we've been doing, getting out as far as we can and getting involved. There's a lot of things pending. Some of the elections that have already occurred, they still have their caucuses and they still have to pick their delegates, and we're urging everybody to stay in there, not only to maximize our delegates, but also to watch what they're doing. This is the toughest job. Raising money is one thing, getting our message out in spite of the mainstream media, but then making sure the votes are counted. So people who have been involved and know what's going on locally, they need to be engaged, and they need to stay into those caucuses and maximize our delegates, because we don't know what's going to happen. With Romney out, they there for a while thought, the whole thing is over, but I haven't accepted that idea, and we have to just wait and see. Things can change, and there's been so many bad stories out about McCain and what he really believes in that already, the people are backing away from him. He's not winning the primaries anymore, so there's every reason for us to stick around and keep doing that. At the same time, we have to be realistic. The media claims we have like 14 or 16 delegates. Our count puts us up between 40 or 50, and there'll be a bunch more when the dust settles. And we will continue to enter, some of these primaries as they come along. But everybody knows that in the next couple of weeks, I am going to campaign very hard to make sure that we have our base. Our base is the 14th district here in Texas. But we also have to make long-term plans. Long-term plans means that we have to show our strength. If we, and I said this in my message, this is risky business, just like it was risky putting it on the internet how much money we're going to raise on a certain day. Others tried that, and they didn't raise any money, and they were embarrassed, and they had to take it off. But it will always encourage our people. So if we have, which I plan to have, a rally or a demonstration or a march on Washington, if a couple thousand shows up, pretty embarrassing. So it is risky. But if we have a grand showing, it just means that mainstream media will have a much more difficult time ignoring us, and this would encourage everybody to keep the momentum going.
We put a report out Saturday at prisonplanet.com, Congressman Paul, where we laid out the 4 different options, and the 4th one, we basically stated what you just stated. From your letter, we basically laid out the fact that it was a shrewd thing that you were doing, focusing still on the presidential campaign, but also to the mothership, your base in Texas. And we made the point that some horrible scandal could come out on McCain. There's already more than a dozen out there. He's being swift-boated by the very same veterans group that went after Kerry. And so who knows what's going to happen to McCain. And so by staying in the race, regardless of how many delegates we really have, we know there's chicanery there, that this buys us time to keep growing the movement, to keep educating people, and just puts us in a better position. Same reason that Mr. Huckabee isn't dropping out. Can you elaborate more on the strategy and why you chose the strategy that you put forward Friday?